The objective of this activity is to compare the marks obtained in all the subjects by a student in the first and the second term by drawing a bar graph, and that will be done using paper cutting and pasting. Let's understand the concept of a bar graph or a double bar graph for that matter. Here you can see on the x-axis we have written some classes: class 5, class 6, class 7, class 8, class 9, and on the y-axis we have represented number of girls in the class. So the scale chosen on the y-axis is 5, 10, 15, 20, which you know uh, is enough for representing all the students of the class. Now there are two types of bar graphs drawn there. The first one here, this represents the girls, and the second one, the second shade here, this represents the boys. So the double ticked ones are the boys. So if such a data is given to us or obtained from any data collection method, then we can represent such a data in the form of a double bar graph. And this is what we are going to do in this particular activity. The material required to perform this activity include a graph paper, obviously for drawing the bar graph, then geometry box for drawing all the bars, colors for shading, and then a pair of scissors for cutting the bars, and Fevicol for pasting. So let's perform this activity of a double bar graph now.
So in this activity on bar graphs, here we can see we have drawn a bar graph which shows the marks obtained by a student in 5 different subjects: Hindi, English, Maths, Science and SST, and the marks obtained are represented on the y-axis. The first bars which you see, they represent the marks obtained in the first term out of 50, and the second bars which you see are the marks obtained in the same subjects in the second term. So a comparative bar graph is already drawn here, and now we need to compare the performance of this student in the 5 subjects in the 2 terms. So as you can see here, we have drawn another table in which we have the subjects in the first column and then the first term marks and the second term marks. So by reading this graph, we are going to find out how many marks were obtained by Shivam in Hindi in the first term. So if you see carefully, this vertical bar, this is exactly coinciding with 30 on the y-axis. So corresponding to Hindi and the first term, the marks obtained will be 30. And likewise, if you consider the marks obtained in English in the first term, you can see this is coinciding exactly with 35 on the y-axis, and therefore the marks obtained are 35. Likewise, for mathematics, you can see the marks obtained are just 1 unit above 40, so that is 41, and we write 41 here. And corresponding to science in the first bar, it coincides with 45, and so the marks obtained are 45. And likewise in social studies, the marks obtained are 1 unit above 3.5, so that is 35 plus 1, 36 on the y-axis. So these are the marks obtained by the student in various subjects in first term. Likewise, if you have to read the marks obtained by the same student in the second term, you can see this bar is coinciding exactly with 40. The height is coinciding with 40 on the y-axis. So we write 40 here in the first subject. In the second subject, this is slightly above 40. So maybe 2 units above 40. So this is 42. And likewise for the third one, it is halfway between 40 and 50. So it is 45. So we will write 45 here. And then for the next one, it is 2 units under 50, and that is 48. So we write 48 here. And then the last one, it is 1 unit above 40, so that is 41. So that completes the table which we can obtain from this particular graph. Now we can study this table and compare the marks obtained by the student in various subjects in the two terms. Like, you can interpret that in the subject of Hindi, his performance in the second term has increased. That means he has improved in Hindi. Likewise, there is an improvement in English from 35 to 42, in mathematics 41 to 45, and then 45 to 48, and 36 to 41. So in all subjects in the second term, he has obtained greater marks as compared to the first term. And that completes our activity on drawing a double bar graph and comparing the marks of a student in two terms.